This is from Brewdog, which is a brewery from Scotland. I get a ton of requests to do their beers, and I haven't done one yet. I've had a bunch of their beers, I've just never reviewed one. So with that said, this is their Riptide. It is their Imperial Stout, comes in at 8% alcohol. It's a year-round beer. I can always seem to find a bottle here and there, so there's always a couple bottles floating around. A lot of controversy surrounding these guys now with their end-of-the-world beer that comes in a taxidermy squirrel, and their Sink the Bismarck and the tactical nuclear penguin. These really kind of racing for the high ABV, but this is this is one of their standards. This is kind of what they're building those beers on, and that's what they got to continue to do, is make solid entry-level beers so they can kind of experiment with that. I personally feel that what they're doing is just it needs to be done, and if they didn't do it, somebody else would. So I think they're taking a lot of unnecessary crap personally. It's good to see the envelope kind of pushed, kind of opens new doors. But anyway, let me get this into a glass, let you know how it smells, how it tastes, and I will give you the verdict on Brewdog's Riptide Imperial Stout. Alright, so the appearance on the Riptide, it's kind of what I was expecting and kind of hoping for. As you guys know, any Imperial Stout just has to be black as night. While this one's not as black as some other ones, it's definitely, impossible to see through. It's got more of a dark brown undertone to it. The head was like a nice, that nice typical, really brownish type head that fades really quickly because of the high alcohol content. Really big bubbles in the head too, and you can see the carbonation kind of coming off the bottom of the glass. So, it's a very typical looking Imperial Stout. It does take some liberties. It's not quite as dark as, say, like an old Rasputin or something like that, but it does look exactly how an Imperial Stout should look. Alright, the aroma on the Riptide. Whoa, there's a lot of chocolate in there, a lot of chocolate. This isn't even brewed with that. I mean, just a ton of chocolate malt they must have used in this one. Yeah, you definitely get some of the alcohol. It's not overwhelming. It's only 8%, so you are going to get a little bit, but it's nothing like a 13-14% Russian Imperial Stout. Lots of roasted notes in there. Lots of like a dry barley kind of roastedness to it. Yeah, obviously no hop characters. There's almost like a kind of a lingering kind of coffee vanilla flavor in there. Very light, but it is definitely there. Definitely the main aroma in this one's chocolate. I'm really surprised by that. Alright, yeah, there's a lot of chocolate in this one. There's more chocolate in this beer than I would say in some stouts that are supposedly chocolate stouts. And it's a really mild, kind of very well balanced chocolate taste, if that makes any sense. Front of the tongue, you do get a little bit of bitterness. But then, at the same time, you're getting hit with this, it's like a coffee chocolate flavor. By the middle of the tongue, your mouth is just, filled with that kind of rich, kind of dark roasted malts, espresso, a huge amount of chocolate in this one. The mouth feels crazy in this one, just coats your mouth. By the back of the mouth, you're getting a little bit of bitterness. You got that lingering kind of espresso coffee bitterness in your mouth. And there's a little bit of alcohol in there. I do taste a little bit, kind of a little bit of burn in there, but nothing too overwhelming or anything. There's a little bit of dark fruit in there, like plums, raisins, really dark caramel notes in there, which, after, this is probably around 45 degrees. I got it out about 15 minutes ago, let it sit to kind of warm up a little bit. And traditionally, Imperial Stouts are supposed to be, had a little bit on the warmer side. And as it does warm up to its ideal temperature, I'm starting to get a lot more caramel, but those darker fruits in there, almost like a Belgian quadruple. It's kind of strange, and they're not, as prominent as that, but they're definitely in there mixing with the chocolate, mixing with the coffee, mixing with the roasted characters. It's a really interesting beer. I had no idea what I was getting into with this one, and honestly, this is one of the better Imperial Stouts I've had. I'm going to give this one an A. It's up there with Old Rasputin. It's really kind of aggressive. It has a very aggressive like palate. I hate to use that word, but it's got a very aggressive palate to it. Lots of chocolate, lots of roasted malts, a lot of coffee in there. Just really mouth-filling. Huge mouthfeel in this one. and then you realize it's only 8%. So it's kind of like this, you know, this the irony of itself, so to speak. But I guess that's kind of the nature of Brewdog. You know, they're these kind of crazy guys, but at the heart of it, they're just brewing really solid beers, and they're kind of going back to, you know, basic roots of how to brew, you know, traditional styles. And technically, a Russian Imperial Stout isn't a traditional style, but you know, it was brewed a long time ago. But anyway, with that said, I'm going to give this one an A. I think it's a super well balanced beer. Definitely try to check it out. Definitely check out some other beers. You know, with that said, yeah, I think it's a great beer. Definitely check it out. And remember, life's too short. Drink amazing beers, whether they come from the U.S., Scotland, Germany, Belgium, wherever. Find them and drink them. Cheers.